Heading to the crack house. Heading to the crack house. Heading to the crack house.
Hello and welcome to Minisode 45 of Fort Fritz. I'm your host, Fritz, joined as always by co-host Mandaddy.
Hi.
Kaz.
Hello.
And Tim Frizz.
What's up?
What's going on? Answer me.
Is that to me?
That's to
oh,
you.
Lord. Yeah, no, not much, man. How's it going?
Everything is good.
Everything's always going good.
Everything is always going good, except for Las Vegas.
Oh, things are...
Oh, yeah. Things are never going good there.
Well, it's especially not going well because Joshua Warren, a so-called paranormal researcher, and what do we know about paranormal researchers who just happen to have free time to go out and explore things?
Crap.
Those are probably the best ones.
Rich.
Or, yeah, they have a lot of money
Rich,
and a
yeah.
lot of free time. So far, Joshua Warren claims he's the first person ever to discover an actual time warp.
Again?
He
Nice.
found it near the city of Las Vegas. It was actually a couple of miles outside of town.
Makes sense, really. That'd be the place the time will be because it hasn't changed.
It's in between Las Vegas and the top secret Air Force site known as...
Area 51.
Yep. So last week, he found a spot in the desert where he claims time slows down, and this is from CBS Los Angeles. He's using this DT meter. It's a differential time rate meter. Every
Did he
time...
invent this?
No, but it is a brand new paranormal research tool.
Okay.
So
By Menon.
if you click it over here, right, it should give you the exact time a meter away. In theory, if you click it, that time will, at the end of the stick, will tell you the exact moment that you pressed it, and it should be exact. However, in this one spot, he clicks it and then shows that something the laws of physics prove should not occur. He had a time drag rate. So using this brand new equipment, which I can only assume is up to snuff,
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
he showed that time slows down by 20 microseconds. So that shouldn't happen unless there is some kind of unknown technology being tested nearby that would influence the environment, or if there are naturally places around planet Earth that actually sort of flicker once in a while that warp a little bit, Warren told KVVU-TV. Naturally, those are the only plausible explanations
Right.
for
Of
why
course.
1 meter of a stick says it's 20 microseconds off.
Yeah, I mean,
Right?
there's no way it's just a piece of crap equipment or anything like that. There's no way that the guy's a complete charlatan just trying to get hits on his website and try to start a sci-fi series. There's absolutely no way it's complete crap.
Well, he says the big question at this point is not whether or not we have these anomalies, but what's causing them. And I think that's that goes back to physics, right? That goes back to Albert Einstein talking about the Big Bang Theory or the presence of a black hole. It would distort time and space.
Of course.
Maybe this is proof that we either have one closer to Earth that we think, or it's actually already inside planet Earth, like wreaking havoc, and the Illuminati is correct.
I can see that.
It could always be. I mean, if just a big if that piece of equipment isn't crap, though, there could also be things below the Earth's surface that could change it.
Sure.
Things
Yeah,
in
why
the
not?
core with like changes in nickel deposits, something like that might cause a magnetic disturbance, which could mess with a piece of equipment like that or time itself if it's strong enough. Because with the black hole, it's just because of gravity. And so you have areas where gravity is slightly different because of different ore deposits. That could be a plausible explanation too. But nope, UFOs.
Or what? Let me just ask you this: what if there is some kind of magnetic rock within that bed?
Yeah.
Right. Like he doesn't know if it's just some kind of like time anomaly. It might be something like that.
There's so many factors that are possible.
Right.
Because after all, the DT meter would have to probably pick up something magnetic anyway if it's measuring time in this stick.
Yeah, I don't know what the mechanism is in there, but
The stick of time.
The stick of time.
It's a cool idea to approach a problem that we didn't know we had, right? Like if you're walking around and you're like, hey, look, there's a disturbance here. I think that's cool. That's a unique way to look at the world because it doesn't really appear to be like doing anything,
Right.
but he's measuring something that theoretically could lead to something else.
Sure.
So I think that's definitely cool. We've talked about. I was talking with someone about the influence of people talk about the full moon makes people crazy or whatever type of thing. And people write it off as hooey, and for the most part, it seems hooey-ish. But
Hooish.
Hooish.
the moon does sort of have an impact on physical things on Earth.
And that's absolutely
to
true.
say that like that doesn't, move some weird electron in your body a different way, to spin it, some other way that makes you do something different or think something different or whatever. I don't know.
Well, you think about it.
There's stuff going on that we can't measure yet.
The moon does affect the tides. We know that.
Right.
And our bodies are mostly water.
Just sloshing around.
So it's just like
it sloshes you
it's
to
an
one side.
emotional tide. It's affecting you in that way. I mean,
a garbage bag of salt water.
and right now we have the
Slosh.
whole. I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if it's just because of the internet, but there seems to be like every month there's a sort of moon that for the first time in 1,000 years it's a turquoise moon, and then it's the longest eclipse of this and that. Like every few weeks we have the longest blood moon of ever is coming up this weekend or something, and there's all these different Mercury and everything else is in retrograde. So
Mercury's in
retrograde, and so that's why everything's just been going crazy. That's it. It's not just because we're losing our minds.
Also, cameras. Cameras were a new invention back in the 1860s. So maybe this is just that new piece of equipment that will actually start but picking up on different things.
But
Anyway.
like you said, it is a problem we didn't know we had.
Nope.
No one was walking through there going, "Whoa, did it all get slower around here?"
Right? Did it get 20 microseconds slower? Just
I was going to say 20 microseconds. It felt just like that to me too.
Someone else goes, no. What do you got, Kaz?
So real quick, actually, I caught an episode of a new anime series called Space Dandy.
Space Dandy.
Space Dandy.
Space Dandy is nuts. Space Dandy is like motherfucking Cowboy Bebop on several hits of acid. It is
like Cowboy Bebop.
It is a very, very cool series so far. I've only gotten like 2 episodes in. It's just very avant-garde,
Wham, bam,
strange,
hitting you right in the face.
Fifth Element meets Rick and Morty meets anime meets Cowboy Bebop, like very, very out there.
Heck of a stew.
Yeah, it's very, very visually entertaining thing. So check it out if you get a chance. It sounds a little weird, but it's very tongue in cheek, kind of One Punch Man style. Like it's self-referential to the genre, right? Like they know they're making an anime, and it's cool. So check that out.
Will do.
Also, American Horror Story season 8 got announced, and they announced
why do they even try anymore?
But this is interesting what they're going to try.
So it's going to be a basically like a crossover season from their different. So if you know anything about the American Horror Story series, the last 7 seasons have been sort of their own individual universes or worlds, basically roughly the same cast. They all play different characters, and then they engage in different spooky things. But this new one is going to be a crossover of the original series Murder House, which was
they painted themselves into a corner. Dylan McDermott.
I was going to say Clive Owen. I always do Clive Owen, Dylan McDermott, and Dermot Mulrooney.
They're all handsome men. Can we agree?
Just like mold
There's
them
far
into
to
one.
be McDermotts. There's like 12 of them now. They've completely overcome Baldwins and Kardashians now.
No, the new one is Skarsgårds.
Yeah, there's way more Skarsgårds than anything.
The Skarsgårds are taking over.
It's about damn time, though, right?
Right. No, absolutely.
I for one, praise our Skarsgårds masters.
Yes.
So it's Murder House the first season, and then Coven the season with the witches that took
Those
place
are the two
in
best
Louisiana. And everyone thought so too. So yeah, I think it'll be cool. I really enjoyed American Horror Story. I thought that I
liked Freak Show the best. I thought that had the best writing.
They all I liked them all.
It actually had an ending.
I thought they all they were trying to get weird with it, and they succeeded. And watching something that was that kind of squeam-inducing on cable TV was definitely something that was unique to me. I didn't I watched I used to watch like fucking Tales from the Crypt and stuff, and it's all like, oh yeah, it's spooky, but this was like horror movie style, like cringing in my seat, like shit. I don't even know if I want to continue to watch this. This is
gory,
intense.
Do you often ask yourself though, did they just write this episode before they started filming? Because a lot of their episodes are like, what even is going on now? It just seems like they're like, wait, hold on.
I think the idea is they set you up. They wanted to not give you the standard horror finish when they're setting you up with the standard horror trope, right? It's like spooky witches, and then you kind of get in and you understand there's like weird nuance to the stuff that's going on, and I think that was the idea. They give you like something that you're used to, and then take it in a different direction, and then from there in a different direction. That's what I enjoyed about it. The fact that you never really could tell where a season of American Horror Story was going. It was always going to kind of get you in a weird way.
I have to say, I don't think I've finished the last 4 seasons. I think I start them,
Dude, you
and
would
they
like
just
the
Yeah, I
last
did
lost
the exact same thing.
so much interest. I liked the start of the last season, and then something that just
You'll really like it. It's good. It's intense.
I know.
And it's
We got
far-
like halfway through. I got like into season episode 7 or 8, and so it just they always seem to drop off with what you're talking about, Freak Show. I love so many of the elements of Freak Show, and then they throw in them doing modern songs. They work so hard to make this complete period piece, and they did such a good job. And then, here's a Madonna song. Why would you do that?
Because I think that's the least damning thing to say about any of their seasons. That's why I think that one's the best.
Yeah, there is worse things, I guess. Yeah.
Season 1, they handcuffed themselves early on, and then they had to do this like Keystone Copper bit.
Yeah.
About constantly entering, exiting a house, and I was like, Jesus Christ! All right, but that's their first season. Season 2 was the
Asylum.
Yeah, and then the aliens came, and it was
and
just
they completely did not resolve that.
It was soup.
Yeah, and they said they're like, well, we wanted to leave that open for the viewer. No, that's fucking lazy writing.
Lazy writing.
I will say that if we're just going to jump on and find something to hate about this,
let's do it.
Thing,
that's always fun.
The one, and you guys probably didn't watch this far. The Roanoke one.
Once again, I started it and got about halfway through, and then
so the whole it's confusing
I hear that
as shit
that's
to
the best
even
ending
say.
though.
It's
and I
kind of. I
haven't seen it. Just all of my friends are like, oh my god, the ending though.
It's
I should just watch the ending.
It's about a documentary about a family of people that has something terrible happen to them in Roanoke, Virginia, and then it is the people who play the actual victims in the documentary are forced to, in a reality show TV capacity, go back to the place where the crime or where the haunting happened and live with their actor doppelganger, basically. Nice. So like the person who played them in the documentary and the person who suffered the trauma were all like living in this thing.
And I found that interesting.
It was weird, but then again, it was just like, I don't know, it was fucking. And then Cuba Gooding Jr. was in it, and I just can't anymore.
Hey, if we're gonna find negative things to harp on
about Cuba, I'll pull him out of Cuba. First of all,
you can take it. You can take it.
Cuba.
So anyway, I'm excited for it. I'm definitely gonna be checking it out. I got to catch back up on Preacher. That's another one. And then they canceled the Crow reboot that was going to star Jason Momoa.
Did you hear they also canceled the Fox comedy Ghosted with
they canceled that?
Craig Robinson?
That was a good show.
From The Office, yep.
That was actually an enjoyable show.
They canceled it.
And the last episode, they opened it up for some cool stuff. And I was like, I can't wait for the next season. And I guess I'm going to have to wait a long fucking time.
Yeah, I guess that was not picked up.
Come on, Netflix. Save us, Netflix. You're our only hope. Because Adam Scott needs work. That guy gets more.
Who's Adam Scott?
That's the guy with Craig Robinson?
Yeah, but
he's the one who's also in Parks and Rec.
Yeah, he's in everything.
Rec, okay.
Adam Scott has gigs for days.
He's a little mouse face guy.
Like about a month ago.
Yeah, he shows up in everything.
That fucking mouse face guy?
He's great. I love that guy.
About a month ago, me and my wife, everything we watched for an entire weekend just had him randomly in it. Like every single show we watched, it was a random Adam Scott weekend.
Idris Elba.
Every TV show, every movie, he just appeared. It's like, he's still here!
Anyway, so terrifying Adam Scott reappearances aside, what do you got for us, Frizz?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to go back a little bit since I am old. A recent movie I saw came out in 2015.
2015, all right.
The Witch. It's about a family.
The Vitch, the 2V Vitch.
Yeah, definitely. Vitch. Like I couldn't tell. Like it spelled The Witch, and then the cover. It doesn't matter.
The Vitch.
The Vitch and or The Witch. It was about a family in
Vitch, please.
In 1630 New England who's going to be exiled from their community, so they leave their plantation and go kind of live out on their own. And then some crazy stuff starts happening. Don't want to spoil the movie, but a baby goes missing. It's potentially Vitches around in the woods.
Vitch is going crazy.
As always.
Jesus.
Stars Ralph Ineson from Dagmar Cleftjaw from Game of Thrones, Katie Dickey, Liza Tully from Game of Thrones. Right, you might need subtitles because he's hard to understand.
Yeah, and was it Taylor Anya Joy or something?
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Anya Taylor-Joy. She's incredible.
Thomason is fantastic.
She was also in Split.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I need to rewatch Split.
I haven't seen that yet.
It's really good.
Definitely my favorite performance of the movie came from Harvey Scrimshaw, the kid who plays Caleb in the movie. Seems like he's just playing the teenager, like 12-year-old, pretty basic role until like some stuff actually happens. He has just a fantastic performance in that movie.
So that actually that was one of the comparison movies that we brought up in trying to talk about whether or not A Quiet Place could be considered an actual horror movie or not. Was watching The Witch, you get that thing that I was talking about. At least for me, it's that like disembodied, complete, nightmarish sort of feeling of like, is something completely, evil or wrong happening right now, and instead of just kind of like, oh, they have to avoid this monster thing. But I will say that I spoke to another friend of ours, and he told me that he has the Dolby Atmos surround sound thing set up, which is like 524
Nice.
or whatever, which has multiple speakers in the ceiling where they can do what's called object oriented sound design or whatever. Basically,
fuck me.
Allowed to in 3D space kind of create where the sounds would be. So he said he watched it with that, and it was a completely different experience. That like all of the things happening on like roofs and behind things is so you could hear.
Where does this dude live, and when are we going over and doing?
He
this?
lives right up the street. We should do like a movie night and,
Fuck
and
yeah,
go watch it.
Dude, that sounds sweet.
And he likes us.
Yeah, and
he's a friend of the show.
Absolutely.
Wow, good deal. Make it so.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
we're gonna go over there and podcast.
So I
one
want
night.
to check it out again, and maybe that's the element of horror you get, the dread of the unknown noises and stuff. So maybe that would be cool. I don't know. We'll see.
Good deal.
So Frizz, out of 7 Mandaddy beard strokes, what would you give The Witch?
I would definitely give it a pretty solid 5.5, 6 for sure.
Good. So that's a 4 is a average, and so 5.5 to 6 is up there.
Yeah, for sure. For a horror movie, it definitely like created a great atmosphere. Was definitely creepier than usual. Did a good job.
Well, very cool. That's a solid rating. Mandaddy, what do you have for us?
Well, we're going to keep with the movies, I guess.
Yeah.
A movie I just watched this weekend, which was a really surprise because I hadn't heard of it at all, wasn't on my radar at all, and it's called Ghost Stories, and it came out this year. The only major actor is Martin Freeman. Not Morgan Freeman, Martin Freeman. I get my Freemans mixed up.
Who's
One's the
Martin
white guy.
Lawrence?
No, Martin Freeman. He
The
plays,
Hobbit?
Yeah. And he
Okay.
also plays Watson from Sherlock.
Yeah. I've been watching
And
that.
it's an English film, and it's based off, and you find out at the end it's actually based off a stage play, which I didn't know. And it's an anthology movie in a way, with a paranormal debunker guy, a guy who spent his whole life, debunking all paranormal myths, meeting up with someone else and finding these 3 cases that had never been solved. And so each part of the film is delving into each of the 3 cases, and they all
Cool.
involve some sort of ghost, spiritual,
a Martin
paranormal
Freeman
thing.
ghost movie? That sounds
Yeah,
awesome.
he doesn't come in.
pretty cool.
He doesn't come in until later, but he does play a major role. But he
Okay.
doesn't show up until later.
So I just looked up Martin Freeman, and yeah, he's the Hobbit dude. But I immediately thought, oh, the guy from Love Actually, who's in the porno.
Oh yeah,
He's that like physical blocker where he's like blocking out scenes with the woman that he ends up like falling in love with.
I remember him from Hitchhiker's Guide.
yep.
He was what's his name?
Ford Prefect.
Yes.
And no. He played Arthur
main guy.
Dent.
Yeah.
He played Arthur Dent, right?
Yeah.
He played Arthur Dent. I mixed him up. He's in Fargo, the first season of Fargo.
Okay.
He was amazing in that.
Oh, that's what I was gonna.
With him and Billy Bob.
I watched 3 billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri. Dude, Sam Rockwell. That's the
Give
guy's
him
name.
the prize.
He's a god.
He was so
The
amazing
man is
in that
a
movie.
god. It was incredible.
So good. What a movie. That movie takes you somewhere.
It was fantastic.
That movie just
It was
twists and
fantastic.
turns. You did not see shit coming.
That's a 7 out of 7.
Yeah,
good
that's
recommendation.
Nice.
easily. Now, Ghost Stories, it's like I said, each part goes to a different story, and it's an English movie, so it does have a little kind of a slower burn to some of the parts of it. But overall, it keeps building in a good way. The ending is stellar, and one of the interesting things is that when you watch it, if you have to pay attention because there's little pieces of symbolism and stuff that keep recurring, and then it ends up showing why you're seeing all these different little things. And so you'll start saying, that did that because that happened when he was a kid and this. And so it's a movie that I almost want to watch again just so I can see from the beginning all the different little symbols and stuff that carry out throughout the entire movie.
That's cool. So
I'm gonna check it out.
is it individual ghost stories?
Yeah, it's 3 different stories, but they're all somewhat intertwined. There's
Nice.
There's elements that intertwine them.
Like an hour
Some
and a
you
half?
know about, some you don't. It's an hour and a half movie, typical movie length, and a stellar ending. Well acted, it was just one of those movies where you'd have no idea when you're going into it, and you end up just being really surprised and really
Fantastic.
happy with the experience.
Definitely checking it out.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I'd give it a 6. I'd give it a 6. I mean, because it makes me want to rewatch it. I think if you don't care about something like that, and you don't care about seeing all these little Easter eggs, if you will, then it might be a 5.5 or a 5 for you. But because I'm that sort of manic person, it makes me want to see it again. So I give it a 6.
So is it because the writing is so well done? The dialogue, the acting special effects.
With me, no, I mean it's not a big budget. They do. There's a lot of really good jump scares that aren't cheap. Jump scares can be really cheap. There's some really good ones in there, and some really good creep factor. And comedy too. It actually does have some really funny parts in it, and it does it definitely without it being really.
Martin Freeman is the master of the nuance, like funny face. Like he can do a lot with just kind of his
Oh yeah, he's really good.
And little asides and stuff. Yeah.
But it's a fun experience if you like horror movies that have a little bit of comedy to them, and you could take something that's a little more involved when it comes to a slow burn. I mean, I would not even call it a slow burn. Just there are certain sections I thought there's some pacing issues. But overall, a really fun experience if you just want to check out a movie and dive in without knowing not that much about it.
Cool. So that's Ghost Stories?
Ghost Stories.
Plural?
Yes.
All right,
like 3.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for listening to Minisode 45. Hey, Mandaddy.
Yeah.
How can people interact with us?
Just give us a call.
Anyways.
You can stop by my house. I'm usually home during the day.
Mandaddy's phone number is 570
No way in hell.
478-3789. That's 570-FORT-4RT, Fritz, FRTZ.
What you can do is you can go on the YouTubes, you can go on the Stitchers, you can go on the Libsyns, you can go on the iTunes. We're on the Facebooks. When you go to, we're on the Spotifys nowadays. Those kids love the Spotifys.
Twitter,
we're at Fort Fritz MCT. We're at Facebook, just at Fort Fritz. You'll find us. We're even on Instagram, evidently.
we need to find the dude that just has at Fort Fritz.
No, I actually, the Instagram account is back up and running.
Oh, no.
And I posted how you can vote for us and something that's probably already over.
No, I think it's August 2nd or something like that.
Yeah, but it might be over by the time you
by the time they hear this. Okay. We're in one of those time loop thingies.
Yep.
Where's the meter stick?
20 microseconds
Click
too
it.
late.
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, wouldn't it be negative 20 seconds?
Too
Negative
fast.
20 microseconds too late?
I guess it depend on your perception if you're inside
Right.
or outside.
Which side of the stick
which
are
side
you
of
on?
the stick are you on, right?
Oh.
And that's going to be the thing in the future. It's like, hey, look, dude, what side of the stick are you on?
That's our
Okay.
new shirt.
Exactly.
Fort
What side
Fritz,
of the
what side of the
stick
stick are you on?
Dude,
Just
I
a
like
fucking
that.
just a fucking DT meter so everyone goes, what is that? I don't even know.
That's it. Fort Fritz, what side of the stick are you on?
I love it.
You're listening to Fort Fritz. What fucking side of the stick are you on?